Yo, double up, man, I'm trying to add zeros. Them man there for the other win, but we got it last minute, man, I feel like I'll grow. Long time I've been dishing out CVs, but time I speak to a boss. And my young bro linking these girls, now he pissed, he got make up on his Fendi top. I'm on route to a mill, like Heskey. And my city might be coming for the Sterling, I'm speeding like Sonic, so we might get tech. And this ain't no Ben, she pull her top up like myself. She said she wanna go to the finals, she even hold the same.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy E, 1/3 of the High Press Podcast, and I'm here live in the same room with my man Bijan. What's going on, baby?
What's good, High Press? What's up? Live from Chicago.
Live from Chicago, man. Day after the Gold Cup final. You know what I mean? We was in attendance, in the building. That shit was crazy, you know?
Gold Cup was fun. The atmosphere was great. The game was competitive and great views from the stadium. Just delivered. It delivered.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, so that was my first time at Soldier Field.
Mine too, yeah.
Word? That was your first time at Soldier Field?
Yeah.
You live fucking 5 minutes from Soldier Field and you haven't been to a Chicago game?
Never.
Well, that's because you're a Jets fan and shit.
Let's go
so
Jets.
I get it. But yeah, no, man, it was dope. So actually, we actually stayed in the crib. We watched the Women's World Cup final. We also watched the Gold Cup final, and then we went over to the Weathermark Tavern, I believe. It's in like the South Loop, and I think that's where the American Outlaws. Shout out to the American Outlaws. They had a little viewing party and shit. Everybody met up over at the tavern, and then around 6:15, everybody walked outside, and we did the march to the match. To go to the stadium. Yo, that march shit was kind of dope.
Yeah,
yo.
it was pretty cool. It had a very European night type feel, European match. You know, like you kind of see sometimes in videos in England and Spain and Italy, all over. You see the fans walking from whatever bar they were at to the stadium, because you got all those bars within walking distance of the stadium, and you just see all the lines and the sea of fans just chanting and clapping and singing, and it's just great to see and great to be a part of.
All the jerseys, all the scarves, you know, you had men, women, you know, white, black, Spanish, you know, other, you know, ethnicities. I saw a couple Asian dudes in there, like, you know, it was pretty dope. So we walked from the bar to the US soccer house or whatever that thing was.
The US Soccer House. I guess it was the headquarters or whatever of the Outlaws chapter, or, you know, something. I don't really even know what it was. It just looked, when we got there, it was just two dudes just
it was two dudes just leading chants and shit. Yeah, but it was dope though, man. It was just the atmosphere, just like you said, like to have like, you know, that many people invested in, you know, American soccer and the U.S. national team. It was definitely dope to see, dope experience. We got videos. Matter of fact, the videos are probably playing right now, you know, as you're listening to this podcast. But it was just dope because everybody was together, singing and all of that shit. And then once we got into the stadium, all of the Mexico fans were there too. Yeah. So it was like dope interacting with the Mexico fans and shit. You know, they were booing us and they were singing their chants, and, you know, they had their fucking instruments and all of that shit playing. And oh, look, the ambulance, baby.
There it is.
The High Press ambulance.
Right on cue.
Somebody got shot in Chicago again. But yeah, it was just dope, yo, just walking into the stadium. Supposedly it was a sellout crowd, which it definitely was. It looked like a sold-out crowd. Yeah. I think the announced attendance was like over 60,000. Mm-hmm. Soldier Field holds like 61,000, so, you know, it was a sellout. Crazy atmosphere. One thing that surprised me, though, that didn't surprise Bijan, I thought it was going to be more of an even split with the USA fans and the Mexico fans. I thought it was going to be 60-40 Mexico-US. It was more like 80-20 or possibly 90-10 Mexico, yo.
I think it was more like 90-10. It was like, it's like when you watch like Premier League games and you see like, you know, say you're at like Liverpool or something, and you see obviously you're in Anfield, you see all the home crowd, and then you see the supporters away section.
There's one fucking section, yeah.
That's what this was like in the U.S. for the U.S. fan section. There was literally like just one little section where you saw your red, white, and blue, and you heard some clapping and chanting. But they were just drowned out by the sea that was Mexico.
Literally drowned out. Like, so we were sitting around a bunch of Mexico fans. So we couldn't hear any of the U.S. chants, like, at all. We saw them. I believe they had the whole section behind the U.S. goal. And I know they were chanting because I saw them jumping up and down and shit. But bro, I just couldn't hear nothing.
Nah.
Fucking, it was all Mexico all day. Like, it was ridiculous. I mean, but Bijan, had told me living in Chicago for about a year, almost 2 years now. He knew that the Mexican population is extremely large here, and they just support their club better than the U.S. do.
Let me tell you something. If Mexico was playing like anyone else, I would have had the best time ever, because I would have been going in with Mexico on all that cheering and pregame, and it was great. Shout out to the Mexico fans and Mexico team. The fans had a great time. They were respectful, and there was nothing. I didn't see anything crazy going on. There was it was all in good fun, which was how it should be, and for two nations that are so close to each other.
Right. It was competitive banter. It wasn't nothing violent. Like I ain't see no fights or none of that shit like that. So it was dope, man. It was just dope to see two cultures come together and just enjoy a fucking soccer game, man. And speaking of the soccer game, let's talk about it a little bit. How did you feel? Like, what was your overall thoughts on the match?
I thought the first half was a very, very good half. It was very competitive. Mexico had the possession. I thought Mexico had much better possession in the first half.
Definitely.
But U.S. had much better chances in the first half.
We did.
So that made it a very competitive game. Yeah, Mexico was had the possession in the first half, but U.S. was it seemed like that's what they wanted to have happen, and we were taking advantage of them on the counter, which you saw many times. U.S. could have been up 2-3-0 in that
easily,
first half.
and it was mostly off of those long balls, bro. Like we were our midfield and our center backs did a good job in the first half, at least, of playing balls over the top to Zardes, to Jordan Morris, to Pulisic and shit. And we did have the better chances by far. Josie Altidore missed a fucking sitter right in front of goal, bro. It should have been 1-0 early, after 10 minutes.
That was a gimme.
That was a gimme, bro. Granted, okay, so it was a ball over the top. I believe it was from Bradley. I'm not sure because
it was one of the defenders.
It was one of the defenders.
Yeah.
So it might have been Aaron Long or some shit, like Tim Ream or whatever. Hit a beautiful ball over the top. Josie just kind of strong-armed one of the Mexico center backs. He does a good job of pulling the ball down.
Did a great job bringing it down and making that cut.
And making that little cut to get it onto his left foot. Only problem is Josie is a right-footed striker.
Still, man.
So he had to use his left foot. He tries to go to the far post, across the goalie's body, and he just couldn't get it on target, man. I thought for sure that was a goal. He was 1-on-1.
Yeah.
After that cut, he was 1-on-1 with the goalie. If you're a fucking striker that used to play in the Premier League and all that, you're the number one USA striker, you have to put that in, or at least make him make a save, bro. He didn't even get a touch on it, and it just went out for a goal kick.
Yep, that was exactly what happened, and Josie definitely knows he should have done better. But
yeah, you could tell afterwards that he was real frustrated with himself. Also, Paul Arriola also had a chance as well. Once again on a long ball. The USA hit a long ball, so it was Arriola, and he was in between two center backs. So I guess the center backs thought that the goalie was going to take that ball, but when it hit the ground, it fell into the Mexico box, and it took kind of a weird bounce. And Arriola, one of his strengths is his speed and his agility, but also his vision. He sees the game really well. So he saw that ball where the next bounce was going to be, and it actually bounced out to the right. So he just followed it, took a little touch, which dragged out the Mexican goalie to the right, and it was basically a one-on-one again because the center backs were behind him. Mm-hmm. It was him and the goalie, and once again, Paul Arriola misses the target.
Yep, that was, And then I think Areola had another chance in the first half where there was, I don't know exactly what happened, but he just stole the ball essentially from the keeper.
Picked his pocket,
Yeah, and didn't really steal the ball, but like he just like intercepted like a back pass and like chested it. He was off balance, so I don't really blame him for missing the target, but that was great play by him. That could have been a goal as well. He just narrowly missed the shot, but it was a tough one to take because he took it as he was going opposite direction from the goal and then had to make a quick like 360, and it was tough. But that's how attacking US was in the first half, and to the point of the long balls, it looked like that's what the US was. That's what they want.
That was a game plan. Yeah, that was a game plan.
And it's a good game plan because they were allowing the possession of Mexico, allowing the Mexico to get confident enough to like have their wing backs and center backs pushing up and have a high, be pressed up so high because they were dominating possession. The U.S. was defending very well in the first half, and when they were taking the ball, the wingers and the strikers kind of cheating up a little bit. And boom, you hit them, and then take advantage of our strength, speed, and athleticism.
Right, because
that's what we're good at.
Right, Josie Altidore is faster than anybody on the Mexican team. Christian Pulisic also once again, and Jordan Morris, who got the start on the right wing. I thought personally Tyler Boyd should have been playing. I think Tyler Boyd is just a better soccer player than Jordan Morris. But I think because of the game plan that Berhalter installed, I think he wanted the speed. And Jordan Morris, his number one attribute is his speed. Like, that's what he does. He gets in behind defenses. Also, he likes to make those runs behind the line. So with Josie Altidore as your striker, he's more of a hold-up guy, and then he lays it off to the wingers pushing up. So he plays well with Jordan Morris just because their strengths kind of like counterbalance each other. You know what I'm saying? They complement each other. Josie's good at hold-up. Jordan Morris is good at getting in behind the ball, so it's kind of an even trade-off. It just didn't work. Tyler Boyd actually, I don't think he came into the game because I think when Jordan Morris was subbed off, I believe he brought in Christian Roldan, which to me, I don't fucking know why Christian Roldan is playing. I think he's trash or overrated or whatever you want to call it, playing for Seattle. But it is what it is. That definitely was the U.S. game plan. It should have worked. It worked a couple times, and we just couldn't get it on target. One thing I do want to say, though, is Christian Pulisic is a beast, bro.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a beast, bro.
I think when in the second half, when none of that was working, they should have just played it to him more and let him start getting creative and taking over. And instead of watching him do it, they should be making runs off the ball to maybe give him some outlets, which they weren't doing. So.
It literally looked like they were, like, at some point, like, it was just Pulisic taking on 5 guys.
Yeah.
Dribbling fucking 60 yards, and then getting hacked, 40 yards from goal, and then we had to do a free kick, and we would get nothing off of it. Mm-hmm. So you're right; they should have gotten him the ball more. But I think also Mexico knew that they're not doing long balls anymore because we kind of shut that down after halftime. Because once Mexico came out of the half, they were on us for those first 15, 20 minutes. It was literally all Mexico, bro. Yep. All the chances, all the shots, and where we were sitting, niggas had nosebleeds and shit, but where we were sitting in the second half, Mexico was scoring on that goal. Yep. So it was literally Mexico. They weren't clinical in front of goal because it could have been 2-3-0 if they would have put away some of those chances. Matter of fact, shout out to Zach Steffens, who he made a lot of good saves, and they were calling him a bitch the whole match. Puto!
Yeah, that's the famous Mexican chant for the goalkeepers on the goal kicks.
Yeah, it was crazy just how like you have the whole fucking crowd doing the magic fingers and then call his Zach Steffen a bitch every time he kicks the ball. But yeah, the first half was definitely the best half for the U.S. I don't know what happened after the second half, if they didn't adjust well, if Mexico was just a better team. But I don't even really think I can say that because I don't know if Mexico was the better team. They won the game, but if certain chances, fall how they're supposed to fall, I think we played well, really well, actually, in certain spurts. When we did get possession, which wasn't much, we would routinely have 15, 20 pass sequences and all that, and it would end in the chance, but we just couldn't convert. We also had a lot of corner kicks and free kicks as well, because Mexico did resort to fouling in that second half to kind of slow us down.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Mexico was the better team overall, but not by much. And yeah, I think if U.S. would have scored that 1 or 2 goal chances that they had in the first half,
it literally changes the whole game, bro, because that's the first goal of the game.
Yep.
And then the pressure now is on Mexico in front of all their fans.
Yep, you get their fans upset, and then they get nervous.
And then they turn against Mexico.
And then U.S. can exploit that, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, and Mexico. Matter of fact, let's talk about the Mexico goal. So it was Raul Jimenez on the assist. So he gets the ball on the top of the U.S. box. I believe he's being covered by either Aaron Long or Matt Miazga. And he does a little cheeky. So he sees Jonathan Dos Santos making a run coming in from central midfield. He sees him, and with his back turned to Dos Santos, he does a little back heel, just layoff. Yep. Literally, it was a 1 foot layoff. Like, there wasn't much space between him. He just ever so lightly touches it, pulled the defender away from him. Jonathan Dos Santos runs on it perfectly with his left foot and beats Zach Steffens top shelf. There wasn't much Steffens could do with that.
No, he wasn't saving that.
That was
a very nice goal by Mexico.
That was a great finish, but it was all because of Raul Jimenez with that little back heel, and he was giving the U.S. fits. I did think Aaron Long, when he was playing him, did very well on Aaron Long, considering that's a Premier League striker. Like I was telling you during the match, I was telling you, I actually think Aaron Long can play in the Premier League. I think he has the size, speed, and the technical ability to do so. He's also not that old either, so I definitely think that he's up to that level, and he showed it versus Jimenez. But it was just that one moment of quality that ended up sinking us, man. Yeah. And it had to be Jonathan Dos Santos, who plays in Major League Soccer, so he's gonna be talking shit to all the MLS guys. You know what I'm saying? Until the next 4 years when Copa America come back.
That's right, rightfully so.
Yeah, man. So shout out to Mexico, 1-0, but it was a blast. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to G for getting us the tickets. I had just a great time. Atmosphere was amazing. If y'all ever have a chance to go to a Gold Cup match or a Gold Cup final, matter of fact, I actually even went to the Haiti Bermuda match or something like that, and that shit was dope too. So it's just the atmosphere. It's just so much crazy that how other countries rally around their teams.
Yeah.
Like that Haitian team, during the Gold Cup, bro, Haiti literally shut down when they made it to the semifinals, son. People were taken to the streets. Like, you saw 10,000 people in the capital just wilding on the street. The next day, when that game happened, nobody went to work. Everything was shut down. Everybody was watching it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how Mexico treats L3. That's how we treat the women's national team, but not so much the men's. And I think it's because of results like this, unfortunately. But whatever. Speaking of the women's, the one good result on Sunday, the women's win the World Cup. That's their second in a row. So they go back-to-back World Cup winners. They won, 2-0?
2-1. No, yeah, 2-0.
Yeah, it was 2-0. It was 2-0. They beat the Netherlands. The Netherlands played well, but just the U.S. The U.S. women are just so strong,
that was
bro.
Domination.
They are just so fucking. They're so much better than everybody else. It's almost like not even fair. I actually, I didn't really watch the Women's World Cup until the quarterfinals, just because I already knew, the teams that were kind of going to be in it. USA, France, England, Australia or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the USA women did their thing, and they brought home, I think that's 4 now.
That's
total
4,
World
yeah, 4
Cups
title World Cups
for the US now, and that's great. It's the most in the history of the World Cup. So
showing that dominance, man. The first, so I actually think that the Netherlands, especially in the first half, they had some very good counterattacks. They were catching, so they were absorbing all of the U.S. pressure, and then if we turn the ball over or if we lose possession somehow, they already had people upfield to kind of counterbalance that, and they had a lot of good counter opportunities. They just aren't as clinical in front of goal as the United States. They have a forward. They had that really tall chick. You remember her?
Oh,
she was kind of good, yo.
Yeah.
She had a couple highlights taking people on in the box. Like, she should have, that one time, I remember she did like 3 cuts in a row, and I thought she was gonna hit it, but she actually didn't take the shot. And I think that actually screwed her up because she probably would have scored, bro. She had the U.S. on skates, fam.
Yeah, she had a few chances.
I don't know what her name was, but the tall forward from Netherlands.
Yeah,
she was all right.
She had a great game.
Yeah, but so let's get to the goals. So it was, the first one was actually on a penalty. Megan Rapinoe, you know what I'm saying, sinks the penalty, but first it was actually Alex Morgan that drew the penalty. So it was a long ball over the top. Alex Morgan was about to pull it down when a Dutch defender came from the back with a high boot and kind of like kicked her on her elbow or her arm or whatever.
It's definitely a penalty.
Alex Morgan went down. Did the ref originally call it a penalty? Because they did go to VAR to confirm it.
I think they did, yeah. I think they originally did call it a penalty.
So it was originally given as a penalty. Netherlands kind of argued it or whatever. He goes to VAR. He sees her clearly get kicked in the side. You know, mind you, she's in the air too. So the Netherlands girl boot is like at least 7 feet off the ground. You know, like there's no way that they're not giving that. So she gets the penalty. Megan Rapinoe steps up, calm finish, runs to the corner flag, does her little fuck Trump post, you know what I'm saying, and just took in all the ambiance, man. Shout out to Megan Rapinoe. I know she's made a lot of headlines during this during her career actually, but definitely during this World Cup. You know, she had the Twitter beef with Trump.
Yeah.
And you know, she continually, you know, speaks about LGBTQ rights, and she knelt for the national anthem one time. Mm-hmm. They actually showed her during this World Cup, and she wasn't singing the national anthem. All the other girls on the team were, but she wasn't. So she's clearly, you know, an advocate for civil rights and all of that. And it's just great to see her actually put her money where her mouth is.
Yeah, she won the Golden Boot, so she had, you know, the bet one, and she had a great tournament.
She kicked ass, bro. Like that's what she does. Yes, she's loud. Yes, she's abrasive. Yes, you know what I'm saying. She's controversial. But you know what? She's also a great fucking player.
Yeah, I think she's the captain of the U.S. team, heart and soul of that team, and she proved it with her performance.
And she's around what? She's 30. She's 33, 34. So this is probably her you know, her last World Cup,
yeah,
right?
Probably her last rodeo.
Though it was a great fucking way to go out.
It's a way to go out, right into the sunset as world champions.
Shout out to Megan Rapinoe, man. And then the second goal, I think, was one of the best goals scored in the tournament. Rose Lavelle puts in a fucking cracker, bro. Like I didn't even know she had it in her. Like
that. She just rifled that into the net. Keeper didn't stand a chance, and they were actually like just backing off too.
Literally, she dribbled 30, 40 yards with nobody touching her.
Nobody stepped up, and so now I kind of think Netherlands should have done way better on that.
They definitely should have closed her down. Yeah. Like you can't she was in the middle of the park, nigga. Like you can't just let her dribble like that.
She was just dribbled all the way up to the edge of the box and then just blasted a shot, and good. Win it, and that sealed the deal for U.S.
Yeah, that sealed the deal. Netherlands had a couple chances after that. They made a couple substitutions, but it just wasn't working. The U.S. women were just too strong. They lifted up their second trophy. So you know what I'm saying. You know, shout out to
that's 2 in a row. So USA and Germany are the only countries in women's World Cup history to win back-to-back World Cups.
Bang, hold that.
So here's to a three-peat for U.S. women's.
We need that shit. Also, when we were talking, we were both really impressed with Crystal Dunn too, right?
Oh yeah, Crystal Dunn is she's great. The way she tackles that ball is insane.
Son, she goes in hard, yo.
She if she does get beat, she just immediately, she's so fast, she just runs back and then will just take the ball from you. And then she can cross the ball. I think I heard one of the announcers saying that normally for her club she plays, I think, left wing.
Yeah.
So she's actually an attacking player. So very versatile player. The fact that she can defend so well
in a World Cup too.
In a World Cup with all the stakes on you. So I think she had a wonderful tournament. And
she's from New York, kid. Like, man, so she get that little extra high press swagoo, just from being from New York.
Yep. And shout out to Tobin Heath.
Yeah, Tobin Heath was a beast
with all those skills. She very, very talented winger that was just crossing people up.
She's hard to guard, fam.
Yeah.
She really is.
I thought she dribbled a little too much. I would like to see her shoot a little earlier when she, maybe make 1 or 2 cuts and then shoot.
Right.
But still, she had a great game as well.
We even saw fucking blood, right? I forgot who it was. One of the
Sauerbrunn.
Yeah, Sauerbrunn. She had a head-to-head collision on the aerial duel. She had to wave off the play, and she had a blood like dripping from like her forehead. She goes to the sideline. They wrap her up in a black Band-Aid and send her right back onto the field. I was like, okay, bro. So Becky, I see you.
They play tough. All the stakes are on the line. It's world champions. So it's good to see. Good to see some hard-fought footy.
Now, I asked you a question off the podcast while we were watching the game, and you had an answer that I thought was pretty interesting. I asked you if the U.S. women could beat the U.S. men's team, and what was your answer?
Putting me on the spot here, man.
You saw both performances.
Yes.
You seen both teams. Like, if it was just the match, whatever, right? Who do you think would win? Because a lot of people say that the women would win, and you know what? I don't think that it's out of the possibilities for them to win, because they are great. But I don't really think that they could beat the men, just like you said you didn't either.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. Anything's possible. But,
if there's one women's team that could beat their counterparts, the male team, it would be the U.S.
Yeah, and it would be this women's team against this
U.S. team. Right.
It would be, that could happen, but at the end of the day, I don't really think so, because, I think the women are equally as skilled as the men.
Probably more, to be honest with you.
Maybe, but I mean, Pulisic is like, that guy's got skills.
But that's one person.
Yeah, but so are the other guys. McKennie, these guys are very skilled players.
They're playing in,
they're
big
skilled
leagues
players
in Germany
as well, I don't think they're less skilled than the women are. So I think skill-wise, I would say they're equal. They're on par. The women got, Tobin Heath, who's got, very nice. She's got some moves on her, and they've got, more.
Alex Morgan is filthy.
Alex Morgan's great, and they're probably more tactically organized than the men would be. But I think, when it just comes down to those, let's go back to those long balls that, the U.S. was hitting on Mexico. I think the physicality at the end of the day would favor the men in this. And ultimately, I think that's why the men would beat the women the majority of the time they played each other. If they were to play each other, they would win the majority of the time.
Right. On any given Sunday, like they say in football, and I'm saying anybody can be beat. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. Also, because leading to that, during the the men's match, there was a chant for people were chanting for the women to get the same pay as the men.
Yeah,
it was literally
100%
equal pay. Like, you can hear that shit in the fucking crowd.
And they should. That's not to be argued. Just because I think the men can beat the women doesn't mean I don't think the women should be paid like the men. No, of course not. Because they are better than the men.
Exactly. They're more dominant in their realm.
They are better than the men in their own sport, in their division, whatever you want to call it. They're better. So, and they win. They're 4-time world champions. The men haven't won a single World Cup. We missed the last World Cup.
Yeah, so exactly.
They should be getting equal pay, if not more, if we're basing it off of performance. I think the U.S. women's team rakes in a lot of freaking money for the U.S. Soccer Federation. So they should be, honestly, I think they should be getting paid more than the men.
Yeah.
Because they're champions. You know, they make a lot of money, and it's not like they should be short of sponsorship deals. You know, they're great players. They have good personalities, and you know they're attractive. So they should be getting, you know, everything.
So that whole they were chanting equal pay because the lawsuit. It's still, you know, kicking in where the women's have filed a lawsuit against U.S. Soccer, you know, to get equal pay. So I'm don't quote me because, you know, we don't fact check over here. We just literally rolled up some G6 gelato and shit. Like, I mean, we're not fact checking. But I think I heard somewhere where I think the women or the winners of the Women's World Cup got like $30 million. Or something like that, or their federation or whatever got $30 million. And I think last year for the Men's World Cup, I think it was closer to like $400 million. Does that make sense? Do you think like
That's crazy.
I heard those numbers from somebody at a bar, so I don't know how valid they are. You know what I'm saying? He could have been really drunk. But, I mean, it would make sense that the Men's World Cup would get higher prices for TV rights, and, you know, more people are going to watch that than the women's.
They would, but
that disparity is ridiculous. If it is $30 million to the winner as opposed to $400, and supposedly, you know, they say that next World Cup it's going to double. So from 30 to 60, that's still like 5 times less than what the winner of the men's federation would.
Yeah, I mean, but then that's the World Cup as a whole, though, and the U.S. men aren't anywhere near close getting any winnings of that.
Exactly. Yeah, so, we're never getting anything of that.
So based
much.
on the fact on the U.S. men versus the U.S. women and whether the women should be getting paid equal to the men, they 100% should. They're more successful. I think they're just as marketable. And they're 4-time champions. I mean,
that's it.
There's nothing else to really say about that. The men haven't won anything besides a few gold cups and some World Cup berths.
Yeah, we made it out the group.
We made it to the quarterfinals once, and had a good run in '94. Like, come on.
So we'll see, but that lawsuit is currently filed right now. So we'll see how that plays out. It was just interesting that, you know what I'm saying, because you know Megan Rapinoe also did mention about the games being on the same day, that it was, you know, it wasn't fair or whatever. So it's an interesting dynamic between the men's team.
I don't think that was any
right now,
the games being played on the same day. I don't think it had anything to do with a knock on the women. I think it was just more so making it line up for fans to like have an amazing day of watching the game, which is exactly what it was.
Bro, we woke up at 10 because the game was 11 o'clock Eastern. We woke up 10 o'clock in Chicago, and the game was on already.
Yep, watch that game, watch the Copa America, which we'll get to, and watch the
World Cup and then finals. We went over to the final.
Great day of finals, and I think that wasn't a knock on the women, and the women are going to be talked about plenty. So I don't think they have anything to be worried about.
Especially since since the guys lost.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and even if the guys won, it's a gold cup. Sure, they would have had blah blah blah, but they didn't win. So we can talk about the women being champions.
Exactly. We were just talking about Copa America, so let's get into Copa. Brazil wins Copa America. I believe it was 3-1.
3-1 Brazil. Yep.
I said it was going to be 3-0 before the games, but Peru actually got a penalty kick. My man Paulo Guerrero, son.
Paulo Guerrero.
Coca leaf plant.
Paulo Guerrero, the ageless wonder. Guy's like 36 years old, still playing, scoring goals.
The cocaine leaf cowboy and shit, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That was the guy that was suspended from last World Cup because he tested positive for cocaine, but it turns out in Peru there's this tea that they use the actual coca leaf, not, you know, like the processed cocaine that they make in the jungle. The actual leaf that they pull off the plant, they use it in the tea, and that's why he pops. So his suspension ended up getting overturned, and Peru made it to the World Cup and all of that shit. And he actually scored a penalty kick. At that point, Brazil was winning 1-0, and then he tied it up or whatever. It actually made your girlfriend really happy because she's from Peru.
Yeah.
You know, so we were in here. She was hyped watching the game. But Brazil was just too much, bro.
Yeah, and then Brazil scored like 3-4 minutes
exactly.
later,
Yeah. It was
halftime up 2-1, and that was pretty much
that was pretty much
it. Brazil just dominated the game. Ultimately, what you expected for Brazil to do in a final against Peru, being at home.
Right.
So, Brazil did exactly what they set out to do at the start of this Gold Cup. I think, Copa America, I think anything less than winning it would have been seen as a failure for Brazil, and rightfully so. You're home, and you're Brazil. You win this tournament. That's all that, Brazil just went in there and took care of business.
Even without their best player.
Even without
Neymar. It didn't matter.
And I don't think they needed Neymar.
They didn't. They proved it. Nigga, they won. Fuck we need Neymar for? We literally just won it. We don't need that.
Other players stepped up and, showed. Everton stepped up. Big tournament for Everton.
Big tournament for Everton.
He's definitely going to be getting some... His agent is going to be getting some phone calls.
Yeah,
if
like
he hasn't already.
Today. Yeah, like right now. He's on the phone with teams and shit. I also think the best player for them in the whole tournament was Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus played. He had a great game.
But he was great for the whole tournament, right? Like he didn't just play great this game.
He stepped up. He showed that he can be a playmaker and goal scorer for Brazil.
Right.
This tournament, he wasn't the traditional number 9 that Brazil has come to expect from their teams or having in their teams. But every team can be different, and they adapted. I think him and Firmino had a great chemistry all tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
They were getting assists to each other, other players. They were going back and forth, interchanging positions on the wing. Firmino was dropping back into the midfield a little bit and letting Jesus play more of a lone striker role for spells of games. And then you saw Jesus playing on the wing a little bit with Firmino in the middle. I think Jesus showed some tactical maturity, in his game, and that he's probably going to take going forward when he goes to City this coming season.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely showed, like you said, not only scoring goals but also getting assists. Matter of fact, in this game alone, he had a weird fucking game. So to me, he was the man of the match. But he also got sent off in like the 73rd minute with on a second yellow.
He did everything you could do in the game.
He literally did everything you could do.
Good and bad.
So he got the assist on the first goal. He scored the second goal, and then in the second half, he got his second yellow card, was thrown out of the game, and then proceeded to attack the VAR machine.
And then start crying.
And then he was crying.
So he went through an array of emotions as well. He had an emotional roller coaster of a match and a performance roller coaster of a match.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I'm like, yo, has the man of the match ever been thrown out? But like, has that ever happened before?
I'm sure it has, but not to that that dramatic extent.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first goal. So the first goal. It was basically all him. It was just like you said, he was the striker, but a lot of the time he made most of the plays from the right wing, and that's because, like you said, him and Firmino would interchange a lot. So he would be out on the wing a lot, attacking the Peruvian left back, and he's going to win that matchup every fucking time. So he gets a ball over the top. He pulls it down. He fakes like he's going to cross with his left foot. And then he does a little cut to the touch line. He gets to the touch line, and then he hits a back post cross to Mr. Everton. And he calmly finishes it, one touch on the volley. It was beautiful. But I did have a question for you, though. Do you think that he saw Everton on that trailing run, or do you think he was trying to hit Bobby Firmino and just overhit it? Because Firmino was right there at the back post too, but it was too high for him. So I don't know if he was aiming for Firmino or, and he just overhit it, or if he was actually trying to make that play.
I think he was, because I think you saw Everton wide open, and then the defender was completely not marked.
Yeah. So and the reason is because so the right back, what's his name, Advincula, I believe.
Yeah,
he's the right back. He was playing tight in the box on Firmino. So Firmino actually was taking up the center back and the right back on that play just because he's so dangerous in the box. And that let Everton kind of creep up the side unmarked and literally was wide fucking open. There was nobody within 10 yards of him.
None. Yeah, just one time blasted it in. Keeper didn't stand a chance.
And it was a great finish from him. If you're a top player on the Brazilian national team, you're supposed to make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
And he definitely did. Then let's see what else happened. So Gabriel Jesus actually scored the second goal after Peru leveled it with the penalty kick from Guerrero. And this was a nice little chip. Once again, he was out on the right wing. So Peru lose possession. I believe who's their central midfielder, the dude from Barcelona.
Arthur.
So when they dispossess Peru, he gets the ball, and Gabi Jesus is like playing right wing. So he sees that it was a turnover, and he immediately cuts inside to the middle of the field. Arthur, he sees this. He splits 3 Peruvian defenders with a through ball, and Gabi just gives it a little lean, left-handed finish right past the goalie. You couldn't do nothing, boy. That was magnifique right there. It was a great ball too.
Ball.
And it was just the pressure. Peru had trouble keeping the ball from Brazil. And that's just how it was. That's pretty much the entire game. Shout out to Peru though. They made it this far. Nobody thought that they were gonna, beat who they beat.
They passed
Colombia, right?
No, they passed Uruguay and Chile,
right,
to make it to the final after finishing third in their group. So
right.
I think Peru was just happy to be in the final. I think that was a success for them. They made it to the World Cup recently for the first time in 36 years.
Yep.
And then they made it to a Gold Cup final for the first time in like 30 years. So this is honestly like the best Peruvian national team they've ever had. So I think Peruvians are just proud of their team, that they're the guys, these players, regardless of how talented they are going up against these guys, they fight. And that's the Peruvian spirit. So I hope they their federation builds on that, and we can see some more Peru.
They also have some of the best fucking jerseys in the game, bro.
Oh, you like their jerseys?
Those Peru jerseys, the white ones with
the
red, those shits are fire, bro. What, nigga? Them shits is dope as hell.
The Incas.
Yeah, the Incas, man. Shout out to Peru. Shout out to your girlfriend. She was here cheering on her team, cheering on her country. It just didn't work out for her. Oh, matter of fact, I also wanted to talk about the third goal. My man Richarlison. He's Brazilian. So Richarlison actually scored the third goal. It was a penalty kick. It was in like the 90th minute too. Peru was kind of just hacking at chances, and I forgot who they fouled. But Richarlison stepped up, hits the penalty kick, and he seals the deal 3-1. And it's just crazy because a couple weeks earlier he had to be quarantined in his room because he had the mumps. Like who the fuck gets the mumps during a Copa America tournament? Only an Everton player, bro. When I saw that, I'm like, yo, this is so fucking Everton right now.
Yeah, what is he doing? That's hilarious.
He literally had to be quarantined in his room for like a week, not talk to anybody but the doctors, and his whole team had to like get their immunizations and shit just to make sure that none of them contracted the mumps. So he misses, I believe, 2 or 3 games, and then he comes on into the final, scores a goal with the penalty, rips off his fucking shirt, gets a yellow card, and all of that. And then the best part is, after the game, he's talking to the reporter, and he dedicated the goal to his late great-grandmother that had just recently passed, I believe. So the reporter does a follow-up question. The reporter's like, oh, okay, what's her name? And Richarlison's answer was, I forgot.
I'll tell you if I remember.
How do you dedicate a goal to somebody, your family member, your grandmother, and you forget her name?
I don't know.
No, like it could have been just on the spot. It is live TV, right? The emotions and all of that. He just could have had a blank spot.
He did just have the mumps.
Right, yeah, he did just have the mumps, so his brain isn't really working well right now.
I don't know, but that is your grandma.
Come on, son. That's your grandma, B.
I'm assuming they were close because he dedicated a goal to her. So
and then he tells the reporter, he's like, I forget right now. I'm just so emotional, but I'll tell you after the game if I remember. Nigga, the interview is right now. I'm not gonna come back to you later and be like, oh, by the way, Richarlison's grandmother is named Berta or some shit. Like, yeah, man. I thought it was that was funny, man. But great. It's been a great summer of soccer right now.
Yeah.
Like they had the U20 World Cup, which was awesome. USA made a nice run. They had the U21 Euros, which was won by Spain. They had the Women's World Cup, won by the US. The Gold Cup, won by Mexico. Copa America, won by Brazil. And now the African Cup of Nations is also happening right now too. And they had UEFA Nations League. So it's literally just been fucking tournament after tournament after tournament. I was telling Bijan, I'm like, yo, the soccer players are reporting to preseason training right now. I'm like, yo, I feel like the season just finished like two weeks ago.
Yeah, there are a bunch of players are going back. Granted, these are the players that haven't been playing with the national team. Right. Or their national teams haven't really been playing much. So they'll be returning back to preseason training soon, which believe it or not, the leagues start up again in 1 month.
Damn.
So
that's crazy. I can't fucking wait, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's leading in from, because usually the summer is like the down period in soccer. You usually only have like Major League Soccer and then a couple other, maybe like the Russian league plays or some shit, and whatever. Like the Japanese league, I think, was playing. And all of that shit. But I'm just happy that, all of the tournaments are through. Everything was dope. Great soccer. Great content for the podcast, man. And with that said, we're gonna wrap up this episode right now. We hope y'all enjoyed the content. We actually about to record another show right now for y'all. Keep the drops fresh and shit. But yeah, so holla at us on Twitter, HighPressPod420. Look us up on YouTube. Just search High Press Podcast. You'll see it. It's a big fucking soccer ball with a marijuana leaf on it. You can't miss it. We got a couple dope videos on there and shit. And yeah, yo, just hit us up, man. It's your boy E. I'm with my cousin Bijan. Once again, man, thank you for joining me, bro.
That's right. Let's go and we'll be back for another one.
We will, bro. We holla at y'all. Until next week, man. Peace out.
Double up, man, I'm trying to add zeros. Them man there for the other win, but we got it last minute, man, I feel like Aguero. Long time I've been dishing out CVs. Back down, I speak to a boss. And my young bro linking these girls, now he pissed, he got make up on his Fendi top. I'm en route to a mill, like head. And my city might be coming for the Sterling, I'm speeding like Stanley, so we might get tech. And this ain't no bet. She pull her top up like I said. She said she wanna go to the finals. She even hold the same.